Hello everyone, this is Kat and welcome back to My Hero Academia Podfics. Today I'll be starting a fic entitled Fallen Baby Birds. This fic is just over 37,000 words with 9 chapters. Here's the summary. Keigo feels himself on the edge of passing out. He was bruised and beaten down to his limit, and honestly sleep sounds great right now, but there's an alarm in the back of his head telling him to get up and keep running. He couldn't possibly be safe here. Then, as he's fighting an internal struggle, he hears it. A loud whine and muffled hiccups. Chapter 1. Baby Birds. Torn socks fitted onto feet barely hang on as they get scraped against the ground over and over again. The running mixed in with the occasional hop and fly forward, only to land on the ground again, causes leaves to fly off of trees and fall. Bird-like squeaks come with every accidental scrape on a tree or a rock, leaving skin dirty and a little bloody. The kid whines as he falls down and he can't get up, legs too tired and brain muddled. His wings can barely flutter, restrained against leather of sorts, keeping them pinned loosely together. He could try to use the individual feathers, but most of them were damaged, and, to be honest, he was too exhausted to attempt anything drastic. Running was already dragging him down, along with the jumps and the small glides he did to go faster. He just needed to rest on the ground for a bit. He was far away enough, right? He didn't hear footsteps anymore. Keigo feels himself on the edge of passing out. He was bruised and beaten down to his limit, and honestly sleep sounds great right now, but there's an alarm in the back of his head telling him to get up and keep running, but he couldn't possibly be safe here. Then, as he's fighting an internal struggle, he hears it. A loud whine and muffled hiccups. He tenses up at first. How did he not hear the crying? He doesn't allow himself to relax until he can be sure that this isn't another trick from the Hero Commission, but were they cruel enough to use a younger kid to lure him out? Keigo thinks yes, they are. He was 11 and they already damaged him enough. Who the hell ties a kid up and forces him into a dark closet for 2 days? I mean, he doesn't know the answer to that, really. It was hard to know if that was normal for adults to do to kids or not. He didn't know his parents for that long, and everyone in the Hero Commission were adults, so maybe it was. The hawk sits up from where he lays on the ground, moving as quietly as he can and looking around for the source of the crying, and, oh, not a kid, or, yes, a kid, not an adult, definitely not an adult, but they were so small. There was a dark-haired green. That was green, right? The poor thing's hair was matted with mud. Maybe it's the mud. The kid. No, kid doesn't sound right. Hatchling. Yeah, that makes sense. The hatchling's face was red and his eyes were swollen from crying. He had to be about 4 or so, if Keigo knew anything about ages anyways. He'd like to think that he was good at analyzing people and situations, but he was also 11. The hatchling suddenly jumps and Keigo's eyes widen. Spotted. They both make eye contact, and the hatchling is quick to hide his face and his hands, whimpering. Keigo startles himself with a coo that erupts from his own mouth, but he makes no effort to cover up the fact that he did, especially since it makes the hatchling uncover his face slightly. Oh God, that baby face is adorable. As he scoots forward toward the hatchling, he hears a voice in the distance. Shit, bad words. He needs to make a choice quickly, otherwise he's, another bad word. Okay, he can't leave the hatchling here, but he doesn't want to startle the small baby too bad. I think I see something. Fuck, okay, no time to think about scaring the baby. Comfort will need to come later. The hatchling's green eyes are confused and bleary, and with every voice in the distance comes a large flinch that shudders through the baby's body. That's not right. Why is the hatchling so terrified? It doesn't look right. Another voice startles the hawk from his thoughts, and he squeaks, raising a hand to cover his mouth quickly to cover the noise. Shut up, brain. Thoughts later. He shimmies forward, making the hatchling whine softly. Keigo gently shushes the baby, scooping him into his arms and frowning in concern when he makes no effort to get away, just more whines. Please don't give up. I didn't. The hawk charges forward after making sure the hatchling was safe in his arms. He doesn't stop this time until he sees city lights, the hawk swiftly dashing onto the sidewalk and ducking into an alley. Keigo crouches behind a garbage bin, holding the tiny hatchling close to his chest as he remains silent. He tries his best to listen out for other voices, but all he hears is late-night walkers and the distressed noises of the baby in his arms. He eventually gives up listening out for his handlers. Instead, he focuses on the whimpering mess below his chin. Despite his own anxiety and adrenaline prickling in his veins, He begins to whisper reassurances toward the hatchling. You're safe. I'm safe. I won't hurt you. They won't hurt you. They won't hurt me. You're okay. It's okay. The hatchling eventually comes to a stop with his whines and whimpers, head weakly looking up at the 11-year-old. There you are, Keigo hums, voice almost cracking. I thought that maybe you were playing. Oh God, stuttering, not good. Stupid sore throat. Stupid nervous anxiety. He coughs before continuing. Peekaboo with me. This earns not a smile, but just a small noise like something of acknowledgement, but it was so small and easy to miss. Keigo takes it as something akin to a laugh, but not quite so. Still, it somehow brings relief to the poor kid's heart. Keigo brings a hand to run it through the curls that weren't as matted on the hatchling's head, and he smiles brokenly. We're safe now. Don't start shaking, it's okay. My name is Keigo Takemi. Is there something I can call you, Hatchling? He isn't really sure if the baby will talk, but it was worth a shot, and even if he doesn't get an answer, the talking seems to calm the hatchling down. The hawk watches as green eyes widen, trying their best to resist against drooping shut. The hatchling makes a noise, fidgeting on Keigo's lap. His small hands grasp the torn-up shirt in front of him, his face turning down into Keigo's chest and hiding his eyes. Shy, scared. Izu... The hatchling's voice is raspy and squeaky. It's hard to make out what the baby's saying, but Keigo tries his best, putting his chin on top of the muddy hair beneath him. Izuku. Izuku, Keigo confirms, and Izuku nods into his chest. Okay, Izuku, we're in this together now, so... He doesn't think that he would be able to leave his first friend behind, even if he was just a hatchling. The baby nods before yawning, and Keigo takes that as an agreement, shakily standing on two aching legs as Izuku nods off into dreamland. All right, where else besides an alleyway is safe? Keigo starts walking, almost tripping, but managing to catch himself in pure fear of dropping Izuku. However, he doesn't get very far before spotting a man that's just standing there in the entrance of the alleyway. Oh God, no, please no. He must look frightened, because as soon as he makes eye contact, the man curses to himself and raises his hands up. I'm not going to hurt you, kid, he says in a very obvious, exhausted voice, but somehow it was almost reassuring. But an adult? Adults were bad, right? Keigo backs up, and the man lets out a breath that sounds like a sigh. Why is this man wearing a large scarf in the middle of summer? No, wait, that's not what you're supposed to be thinking about, Keigo. The man contemplates what to do next, concerned frown hidden underneath the large scarf and eyes analyzing the two kids in front of him. Just when he's about to say something, Keigo beats him to it. Adult. Keigo winces at his own words. You sound a bit stupid there. Get out, thoughts, I'm scared, I don't... The kid grumbles, his eyes flickering to the ground, but quickly looking back up in fear of the man doing something while he's not in his field of vision. Adults are... mean. Are you... he huffs. Mean? The man's posture goes from stiff to mildly relaxed, and Keigo thought that he saw his fist clench and unclench, but again, he must have just been seeing things. No, kid. I promise. I'm not mean. The man then crouches down, making the hawk feel somewhat better but still skeptical. Not all adults are mean, but many are. Yeah. He slowly extends a hand forward as if trying to beckon forward a stray cat. My name is Shouta Aizawa. Do you think you could tell me yours? Keigo's grip tightens on the hatchling in his arms, frowning at nothing in particular as he thinks. Not mean, he murmurs, watching Aizawa's head nod. Okay. The hawk takes a step forward, taking a deep breath when a particular part of pain shoots through his leg and it causes him to stumble. Aizawa looks like he wants to help, arms extended in worry, but the hawk steadies himself in time. You okay? Aizawa questions, eyebrows raised when Keigo suddenly looks at the man with a pout. Stupid question, Keigo murmurs, wings fluttering slightly when the man snorts into his scarf. A laugh? He made the man laugh. He's definitely never done that before. The adults were always so hard-headed. Was that the term for it? Yeah, it was. The man stands up, hand reaching out again, an offering, it would seem. Keigo, the hawk mumbles, shifting Izuku onto one arm in order to take the hand. Keigo Takemi. It's good to meet you, Takumi. The man pauses, watching Keigo shake his head. Keigo? The hawk nods. He wasn't too big on the last name. And, Keigo's eyes dart to the hatchling, biting at his lip in contemplation. Izuku. Keigo and Izuku. Got it. Aizawa hums. Are you okay with going back to my house? I can't leave you out here like this, kid. Keigo's hand tightens around Aizawa's, the man lightly squeezing back in response. It doesn't hurt, and it's a pressure that the hawk doesn't quite recognize, like comfort. Is home safe? Keigo questions. He had to be sure. Yeah, kid. It's safe. Aizawa doesn't miss a beat in answering, and when Keigo looks into the man's eyes, there's only sincerity along with patience. A soft look that was directed toward him and Izuku, something he never had, something that Izuku probably didn't have either. Okay. The small hawk lets go of Aizawa's hand, leaving the man confused momentarily before the kid raises his hand up toward his face and makes a grabby gesture. Can't, walk well, or fly. He watches Aizawa's eyes dart toward the wings on his back, eyes widening for a second. He must have not looked too hard at them. Keigo chooses to ignore the rage swimming in those irises in favor of tugging at the man's shirt. The anger wasn't directed at him, he knows, but it's wasted energy. Aizawa can provide a safe space, but he won't be able to beat his handlers. They're too strong, he thinks, pouting. It's a shame, but at least he'll be safe, and with a friend, too. Maybe Aizawa will be a friend. He's startled from his thoughts by large hands lifting him up, and he squirms as he's settled into a comfortable position, not quite used to the gentle handling at all. All right, kid. Let's get you and Izuku home. Yeah, that sounds nice. All right, everyone, this concludes Chapter 1 of Fallen Baby Birds. Chapter 2 will be next. I hope you guys enjoy this one. I like fics where Izuku and Hawks are raised as brothers. Let me know your thoughts and reactions below, though, and as always, thank you so much for listening.